we'll just go ahead and get started. Okay, so everybody just needs a giant pizza party is what I'm seeing in this. Like,
yeah,
pizzas, potatoes, and seafood. That's what Pantheon should be. Pizzas, potatoes, and seafood. We will tell them. Don't worry. We'll pass on your comments. Okay, so I'm Sarah Gerardo, your Senior Marketing Operations Manager here at ServiceTitan, and we are bringing out the Marketing Pro Product Managers, which is so much fun for me. And we are just doing workshops to where you all can ask questions about reputation. Today is reputation management. And each one of our products we will have workshops on. Next week, we have a workshop on the web scheduler. And Lucine will be on that one as well and chat to text. But today we're just going to talk about reputation. She'll drop some great best practices, but really the floor is yours. Like whatever you need to ask, whatever questions you have, we're here to answer them. So I'm going to be quiet and let Lucine introduce herself because she is a boss. There you go.
Okay, didn't know that. Hey everyone, I'm Lucine. I know that the pronunciation can be tricky, but just go for it, and like whatever comes out is okay. So yeah, I'm a senior product manager at ServiceTitan. I'm working on reputation, web schedule, and chat to text. Happy to be here. Happy to answer all the questions that you have. Yeah, we can start.
What do you got? Because who's using reputation? Anybody? Okay. Eileen, not yet. Jake's not yet. Christina's using reputation. Jillian's not yet.
I will comment that I turned on the auto verify tool thing from a jig that came out fairly recently, and so far it seems to be mostly accurate. So yay. And if I have any question about it or product feature that I'd like to have, I'd like to be able to dismiss a review. So that way, if I'm doing like the quick verify thing, it just doesn't keep coming up. Like I would just like to say, I don't want to associate this review with anyone.
Oh, I see. Okay, makes sense.
A lot of times we get a bad review and they might say, well, the technician was rated 5-star, but I'm just so mad about the price and about the person who talked to me on the phone. She was really rude. I'm making that up. But that's an instance where I would like to not associate it with the technician because it's not really their fault.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
So would you say, would you ever want to do this on your CSRs? Like how many reviews is too much? None. I'm just saying it's going to be none. That's the bad answer.
Yeah, we do occasionally, like just today, I got a review and it mentioned the CSR's name in the review. And so we have a thing where if your name gets mentioned in a review, you get $5. So she's going to get $5, but in ServiceTitan, that review is going for that tech. So
yeah. Does it happen a lot that it gets to a non-technician employee?
Not terribly often. I'd say out of 300 reviews, maybe 5. But I would say what happens more often is that maybe the technician's helper, or if it was a whole team of people, they all get mentioned in a review, and it would be nice to either spread the love and be able to somehow credit everyone for it, rather than just picking the one main technician that job was on.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
And Evan said that sometimes a CSR can save someone a service call by telling them to change their filter. In that case, the review could be attributed to the CSR. So because CSRs are doing a lot more selling than they probably used to, and sometimes guiding them, it kind of makes sense. I mean, it makes sense because we over-reviewed people. So I totally get it, right? Like that makes sense.
Yeah, would you say like that there is anyone else that would get like reviews
I think
except
it would be
for
like
the CSRs.
Well, the install team, but they would be probably part of the end review, right? If they
Mhm.
didn't install.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Being able to choose on the job who gets credit.
Yeah. So currently, yeah, we basically choose the one who has spent the most time on the job. And yeah, I've heard this a couple of times that it would be really nice to be able to choose who gets the credit for the review. Yeah, we're definitely thinking about having like multiple technicians to be assigned or to be tied to a review. The CSR part, I actually have not heard it that much, but we can definitely check out and see like how many reviews we have got out of all of the reviews that we have. And we can basically see like if it is like a big percentage, then it's definitely worth going for it.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm taking notes as we go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And Christina, you've been using Reputation for a while and you just opened a new location doing it, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Tell me how it went.
It was
If you
amazing.
don't mind.
Yeah, it was great. So we do have 3 Google listings. We don't currently have the smart routing set up. I go in and manually switch it just to keep them moving on all of our locations. And it's the same texts and the same CSRs and everything that serve all the locations. So it's not like we're being, dishonest or misleading with that. Disclaimer. We have our existing location where I am now that's going to be kind of phased out because we're building a brand new office. So we're going to have to be changing that. So the one location is kind of coasting right now where it's at. We don't want to waste our reviews per se. So they're pretty much going to our other 2 locations. But when we opened our 3rd location this past year, we wanted to build the Google listings. So we switched everything to that. I actually used an email campaign to reach out to people who have left us reviews and said, hey, we really appreciate your trust and that you left us a review. Can we ask a favor? Could you leave us one more? This is our new listing. And so we were able to get a whole bunch of reviews from legit customers on legit services on our new listing like that. I mean, we went from, 0 to 300 pretty fast. So it came in really handy for that. But yeah, I've got really nothing but good to say about reputation management.
And how did you pull that email list of people that you just said people that did service with you? And then
I think it was like basically
Anybody?
anybody who had done service in the last year, probably 6 months, maybe 6 months. I think I kept it more recent just so things were still kind of top of mind for them. And I do add tags to people who leave us bad reviews, and so that I can exclude them from some marketing, because I don't want to reach out to somebody who thinks we suck and ask them to say so yet again on another listing.
Yes. And how many of you all are managing the reviews from by yourself and there's not another person in the office managing? Okay. Okay.
About the time that you mentioned, how long do you think they remember the service that you have done? I'm wondering because of the resend that we have, and we have limited the time of the resend for 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And I was wondering, like, if you think that they would remember the service that you have done for longer than like 2 weeks or a month.
I think you're more likely to get a quality review. Someone might give you a star rating, within the last year or so, but you're more likely to get that actual feedback, I think, probably within a week. I don't even know if, I'd say 2 weeks. I'd say it'd be a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you want to capture it, it's going to be that, but you can always nurture it. So like you can send out emails afterwards, like, leave us, here's a referral. And then at the bottom is, oh, did you forget to leave us a review? Right. And it takes you there. And it's just like, it's a part of the process. And then if you're emailing people backwards, you got to think about what's the personalization in the message. And so giving them you as your value, like, we have this review. This is what Sally said about us. You know, would you do service with us? So like reviews are constantly thought about and used. And there's just like time captures, right? Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you're not using reputation, and that's fine, are you using a reputation management tool? And all I just want to hear is yes. Yes. Okay, so we're managing our reputation. That's all that matters. All right. And if you're managing your reputation in another tool, what is it that you are just loving about the other tool that you just don't want to go away from it, or that you just wouldn't go away from it? And that's okay too. Like, we're here to learn with you. So.
Hey there. Can I talk?
Agree.
So we're kind of in between. We have 3 different companies right now. And we've used Bird Eye actually. We have over 1,500 reviews on Bird Eye right now. So we're in the process of transitioning from Bird Eye to reputation management. And I will say what's really cool about Bird Eye is that we can hit them with a text and then an email. So we have the chance to hit them both ways. I was curious if that might be something in the future with reputation management, to be able to hit them, you know, text, then email, like different ways. So that's something that I would really like to see.
Okay, that's actually something that I have been hearing. Again, one of the feedbacks that keep coming back. I think it was my mistake maybe, because initially the way that we have set it up was, okay, like we're going to be very careful to what we send and when we send it. That's why I was like, okay, we need to make sure that I just imagined, like, my mental like thinking was, okay, if I get a text and then straight away I get an email from the same company, I'm just going to disregard all of the messages that they sent. That's why we have decided, okay, like if you use this, then we're going to limit that to that only specific channel. If you go with email, then we're going to limit basically the same business unit to be used in an SMS campaign. That was the actual like initial thought that we had. But as I see it coming up a lot, I think we're going to think of some sort of a conditional triggering to make sure that whenever, for example, the SMS did not click on for a certain period of time, then hit them up with an email.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. I was also curious if it might be possible to build like a email campaign that said, you know, after you triggered like the job completes, thank you for your business. If you need anything in the future, we're here for you. And if you haven't taken the time, could you leave us a review, like one last, if I don't know if that's possible to merge them, but if that was an option to get that review request into the email, if they haven't done that.
They are working on getting reputation data into email, but I do not have an ETA on that.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, but there are initiatives like that.
Awesome.
One thing that you were talking about before was how long do people remember the service?
Right.
You know, and I think following up as the last effort, you know, being email, I think that's a really good idea after, you know, sending one and then sending another maybe 5 days later or whatever the timer is. You know, we had somebody this week that he was a membership customer, and we went to do the fall tune-up, and then the day after, his furnace shut down on him. So we ended up having to send another technician back there, and it turns out that one of our guys missed one of the tasks on our checklist for the tune-up, but we didn't charge anything extra. We got somebody there right away, provided the best experience, given the conditions. And then I remember the conversation with him, he wasn't super, over the moon pleased with us, but we kind of settled things. And then come the spring here, our latest billings just came out. We do 6-month billings for our memberships. So that charge hits his account and it reignites the frustration that he felt in the fall.
Ouch.
And he ended up canceling his membership. So this guy in particular definitely remembered the experience and took action based on it. He kind of had his mind made up once I got on the phone with him that he was going to cancel. So I didn't really try and talk him out of it that much. But people definitely do remember, through the months that go by. I would say sending a review request 6 months after the fact is wise, but people definitely do remember that.
Yeah. The reason I was actually asking the question is we have done some analysis on like whether we should have to resend, or if we have it, what time should we have for it? And I think we've talked about this, and the best like time period for resending the review request was 2 days. That's how long sort of the memory lasts, or the interest maybe lasts for them. So yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and show them some of your best practices?
Would
that
love
you've
to.
learned? We've learned. Okay, awesome.
Can I interrupt for a second and just tell my workaround for not being able to send both the text and an email? We do the text by default, and then I have a Marketing Pro email campaign set up. So 3 days later, regardless if they've left us a review or not, everyone gets the thank you for having us out email, and if you haven't already, we'd appreciate go click this link to leave us a Google review. So that's kind of my workaround for not being able to send both.
Yeah, that's actually
it's an automated campaign, so I don't have to even think about
it. Yeah, I'm wondering though, like how many clicks you get or how many reviews you get out of it. There's no way to track, right?
I mean, we can see email opens and clicks and stuff, but I actually don't even ever look at those. So
I see.
It would be interesting to look at, I guess, but that's just,
yeah. Just wondering.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And I think that can be a valid workaround. Okay. Oops. Okay. So we, with our product analyst, who is actually in the call as well, we have created a guide on basically how to set up the campaign or to have fast results out of it. And we have tested this. This is not just like something that we got out of data. This is actually something that we have tested with a couple of tenants to make sure that, okay, like if we change this to that, then this is going to work. So what we have here is the first sort of stage of when you need to choose the channel, what channel you want to choose, whether it's to be SMS or email. And again, like here comes the part where it is either or, but we'll think about a way to include both. So statistics that we have done actually show that texts tend to get 3 times higher click rate than email does, which I think makes sense because like we all have our phones right next to us, just like right now, even though I'm in the middle of webinar, I have my phone next to me. I think it makes sense, and it's always next to us, if not right on our hands. So the second one is actually the two features that we have, the landing page and the internal feedback. So both of those features were actually created as a help, let's say, to make sure that whoever is getting a lot of negative reviews has a way to somehow shelter and keep those reviews within the company and somehow try to solve the issue, and then like send them another one to where you already know that it's going to be a positive one. But those two features actually tend to harm more than do any good for the survey itself and the click rate and eventually the review generation. So when we use when we use landing page and internal feedback, click rate, basically click rate gets down and is getting decreased. So when we just go with direct links where we do not even use the landing page, we do not use the internal feedback, we just send them straight away several links that we want to drive our reviews to. Those are mostly like Facebook and Google. We get 1.6 times higher click rate when we just go with the links. And one interesting fact that we were able to find is try to analyze all of the reviews that we have got internally and try to calculate an average for those reviews. So the average rating for internal feedback reviews that actually could go to social platforms is 4.92. So this shows definitely that it is not going to like completely harm the star rating that you have there, but all of the 5-star or 4-star reviews are left internally and do not go to any social platform just because you have the internal feedback on. That's that. By the way, guys, if you have questions, just I can do both. We can get the questions as I'm going through the presentation. Any questions up to this point regarding the channels and the internal feedback and landing page? Cool. So the next step is actually the overview. So again, to automate the process, we have created the job complete events trigger. And again, I'm sure that it is not a surprise. Job completes get higher click rates because there can be cases when sometimes we just forget about like clicking on that button on the job details section, or maybe something else happens. Basically, job complete event makes sure that you send it, but we have also added the manual trigger, which again, you can run simultaneously. And whenever one is sent, the other one is not going to be sent. So we have that filter as well. Again, I'm going to talk about the resend. Resend increases the effectiveness of campaigns by 4.3 times. And would definitely suggest using the resend. It's automatically going to resend your review request whenever there is no click on the links that you have sent, just to make sure again that we do not bug them with sending requests too many times. And again, when it comes to the days, we saw that the ones that have 2 days mentioned as their recent time period, that is what those were the ones that were more successful. So when it comes to segment, again, this is a feature that we have created for some specific cases, but this tends to be very specific issue that we bump into. So when you filter it too many times, like when you add too many filters, like you go with job tags, you go with customer tags, you go with I don't know, too many filters, what we have also created is at the end of the survey creation, we show how many customers you would actually be able to reach out to if the job happened during the past 90 days. So just please make sure to take a look at that whenever you're creating a survey, and whenever you're adding too many filters, just make sure that you take a look at the number that you have. So statistically, that would also show you whether the survey that you have created is actually going to be a successful one, or you're basically going to end up just having like 1 or 2 people in the survey just because you have added that many filters. And again, when we come to some statistics here, by using filtering, reputation tenants narrow down the audience and cover only 46.5% of their jobs. I know that there might be some $0 jobs that you would want to filter out. Those have been some of the cases that I have seen tenants using filters. But again, like if you go with too many filters, that's basically going to leave out more than 50% of your reviews out of the reach for reputation. When it comes to the business units, the more the merrier. I'm sure that you have figured that out for yourself. I don't need to tell this. But again, the many business units you have chosen here, you have added to the survey here, the more people we're going to be able to reach out to, and the more reviews we're going to be able to generate for you. Yeah, and also the advanced filtering. We have done like several steps towards limiting people using these advanced filters. So the first one was when they checked this like box that we have here. What we were doing is we were basically giving them a pop-up saying like, hey, this is going to decrease the reviews that you're going to get. But that did not seem to help. So we have now created a recommended way of creating surveys. So it's basically a type of service that we have created, which has in itself already embedded several like workflows. They're going to help. Even if you want, you're not going to be able to add filters there. We have removed that section completely just to make sure that you do not like filter it too many times. We have automatically chosen the SMS one. We have removed the filtering, as I mentioned. We automatically add the resend, and all of the workflows that seem to be getting us better results. We have done it that way only. So when it comes to the logo that we have, again, this is a nice feature that we have added. But again, this seems to decrease the click rate that we get. So as you can see, the ones that have no logo with the text get 1.4 times higher click rate than the ones that have logos. So basically, the reasoning behind that would be people either see a message, see a photo, think it might be spam or something else, or the text might get, I don't know, up and down and so long that they would basically just disregard it and be done with it. So that's something else to think about. This is not like a huge thing to be basically blocking you from getting click rates, but this is something to also consider. And another point that we're able to, another hypothesis that we're able to see was even the text symbols count. So when we add too long of a text, again, they seem to disregard the text. They do not even get to the end piece of the text where we actually have the links, the most important piece of the text that we want them to see. So statistics, again, have shown that the optimal number of symbols is from 100 to 200, links not included, of course. And another thing that we have seen that play a huge role is adding personalization. So when you tell that, for example, how did technician X do at completing your request, that adds more personalization. And what the homeowners basically feel is that this is something that they're doing for that specific technician. And that seems to be getting more click rates than just mentioning the company name or just saying, hey, we would want to have like your review, or we would want you to basically mention how we did at completing your request. And again, when it comes to the review sites, the numbers that we get from Google and Facebook are 97.6%. So all of the other listings get very like minimal, as we can see here, 2.4% attention, and Facebook here gets 22.5%, and Google gets the biggest chunk out of all. Yeah, that's pretty much it regarding this. And as I was mentioning when we were first starting the presentation, we have done 4 beta tests, if you would, with some real tenants to see whether changing these results that we had, these features that we had, changing and switching it up would help them get better results. And what we have seen during that specific study was that it definitely increases the click rate. So we have seen for the first tenant, we have seen 3.4 times increase of the click rate. And for the other ones, it is 1.7, 1.5, and 1.3%. 3 times increase in the click rate. This is again to make sure that this is not only based on the data that we have, but also we have gone ahead and tested this with real tenants. This was pretty much it. If you have questions. I see that we have comments.
Jamie said, will we be adding the BBB?
We're actually working on it. There are actually some listings that we see again come up quite many times. One of those is actually BBB, and we're trying to work out some like ways to get those. But yeah, that's definitely something that we have under our radar.
How many of you are diamond certified? Do you guys know what that is? It's very dependent on the state. Nope. Okay.
Any questions or anything regarding the flow that we have seen? Okay. Would you actually go ahead and change some things if we send the deck to you?
Evan says yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll send the recording to you so you don't have to worry about it. And the notes are great. I took notes too. And I had our logo in our reviews too. So makes you think when you look at data, right? And it's kind of cool that a product would give you all of the data behind it to be like, no. We learned like after we set this up that maybe we should do something different. Like that's actually really cool because you don't often get to see that data.
Yeah.
I guess you guys could do an A/B test with logo, right? See it for yourself, like business unit, separate out
Yeah.
one business unit that's kind of small. I don't know how you do it.
Do you think that it adds more personalization? That's why you're surprised?
You would think that's more personalization. I would, right? I would think like, because
We
when I
did.
get a text, yeah, when I get a text with like links in it, I'm like, do I want to click on that link?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the company, and maybe I do because whatever. And for us, we prepped the conversation, right? It's like, hey, when the CSR, we'll be sending a text review or a text message for a review after the call. Please make sure that you do that. When they're out in the call, we're like, hey, we're going to get a text message, and then our install, you're going to get another text message with a review. Could you please take a moment to review us? So it was a constant, conversation, but I know that not everyone has those in their scripts, but it's something that you can put into your scripts to make sure that the reputation is constantly being talked about. Because you can, yeah. I mean, the best thing with reputation is that you're putting the keywords into the client's brain thoughts, basically, when you start the marketing piece. Like, what do you want them to say and the end result? And I think that's the part. Reputation management, it just isn't about reviews and saying, can I get more reviews? It's about how you want your brand to show up and having different strategies for your brand inside of the reputation. So when I responded, I had 3 different people respond. There was me personally, if I wanted to go that route. There was my HCOP position, which is the person that managed the reputation, the reviews. And then there was the owner. And so I was able to, I responded in 3 different ways. And then there was the brand, actually 4. So there were 4 different people coming at them it was a strategy. Like, if it was escalated, it was Kevin, it was it's different. So,
yeah. I see in the comment that customers love the dispatch pictures, so it would make sense to add it to the review. Yeah, it could definitely be more, I think, helpful than having the company logo in the text or in the email. I was also wondering how many of you actually ask the technician to ask for the review, or to tell them that, like, hey, you're gonna receive this text, please make sure to leave the review because that does XYZ. Do you do it at all or not at all? Oh,
We ask them to ask.
oh, I see.
Sometimes that's as far as it goes, but I
Yeah.
will say that when they do, the manual request gets a much higher click rate
Yes.
than the automated.
Yes, I definitely agree. The reason that I was asking whether you do it or not, we were thinking about having an action point in the forms for the technicians where they need to also ask for that. I was wondering if that would do any help, or do you think that they're just gonna
Yeah, our CSM actually just told me that about an hour ago, is including that in the job completion form might be helpful. So we haven't like initiated that yet, but I was like wondering if anybody else currently does that.
I don't think they do. I will try to get some data around that to see whether there are cases like that. And if there are, then there is definitely need for adding the template or something in the forms to make sure that we have that as well. That was just a thought to just ease the process and make the technicians a habit that they need to do that one thing as well. To get better results.
Yeah, we took it off of their plate to ask for the review. We had a different system as well, and we rewarded them and spiffed them off of the reviews that they got, and then we showcased a leaderboard. And so in every morning meeting, it was discussed the reputation of the techs and the reviews. So we obsessed. Yeah, we really obsessed over reviews. And then Jamie and Christina. What did Jamie say? I think if the techs would be notified when a review is verified for them, they would be more excited about asking. Yeah, having it on the job history isn't helpful for the techs.
Oh, they do not go back, as I understand, right? They just do the job and that's it. Okay. Makes sense.
And Christina, you got one that will derail him if he gets a bad review. And yeah, that happens, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm not a 5-star person. I'm a 1-star. That doesn't even, I'm a 5-star. Like, why am I not a, yeah, we got that too. And I still feel that way even when I get a review, right? I'm like, I'm not a 5-star. Like, why is that? Like, so I get it. There's emotions behind there. But there was one question that was way up here. Hold on, with Beth. What happens if a job is put on hold and then the hold is removed, shows a job as completed, and an additional appointment is added? Would the review request go out in between the change of the status? She's telling the story of the customer.
Okay. If it is completed at any point, then it's definitely go out. Then it's definitely going to go out.
But if it's on hold, oh, but
it goes into complete, right?
Mm-hmm.
At whatever point it goes to complete, then it's definitely firing up the trigger for us.
Okay.
Oh,
how do you communicate positive tech reviews with service managers who don't access MP?
Oh, Jamie mentions that they send the tech and his manager a text with the review if the tech's name is mentioned. Do you do that like every time that you get a review? I'm wondering if there needs to be a workaround. Oh,
yeah, they share the good ones in Slack.
Yeah. Wow, that's going to be a lot of work, Jamie.
Could it be like an alert that goes to one person? Like, yeah, hey, this is your general manager. It goes there, right? When something good happens or something bad, it's like setting it up that way.
Eileen, you had something?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is actually April 1st, so today's my day to work on reputation stuff. I shouldn't say I compile a monthly report, and we have
I know what you're gonna say.
We have 8 different locations with 30 Google My Business pages, and so I actually go into Yext and pull a report through Yext to get it into a spreadsheet. So when ServiceTitan can eventually make it a downloadable report or something like that, that would be amazing, because I run this report monthly, and it gets sent out to all managers. They're required to read out the reviews to the techs in a monthly meeting. And that would, once this reporting stuff can go a little bit better through ServiceTitan only, that will be like, yes, I'll cry. I'll be so happy.
Okay, I don't want to say you're gonna cry, but we are already working on it. So
I knew it was a thing, but I'm ready for that thing to be real. So
yeah, it's like the engineers are working on it right now. I'm not kidding. Yeah, so I think we have discussed this during one of the workshops that we have done for reputation. And that was one of the points that I again saw people that like it was a process that was too manual, and it was a lot of work that they needed to do. So that's definitely something that we are thinking about. It is going to be in the reports. It's not going to be within reputation, and you are going to be able to filter and do like whatever you want with the whole data that you have. Yeah. I have a question regarding the responses. I know that like verifications take a lot of time and effort to do that. Another thing that we have heard that takes a lot of time is responding to reviews. I want to see whether that's something that you would want to have like any help on, or do you think that you're good?
We respond, to all of them, and we like to personalize them, use the customer's name, specifically mention the job beyond like the job type. If that makes sense, make it a little more specific so they know that it's a real person who read their review. We know who they are, what we did for them. So I like doing it myself, I guess.
Yeah. So if that's the case, like what would the personalization be exactly? Like as you mentioned, the customer's name, the job type. So you're saying that just mentioning like the job type is not going to be enough?
Yeah. Let me see. So like regardless if they left feedback or just the stars, for example, we say, hi, Tracy, thanks for your recommendation. It was our pleasure to check out the plumbing for your remodel project. So just a little more specific than, because the job type would have been it would have been like a residential plumbing project, and the job type would have been Tony, who is our project manager, bid. So it would read weird if it filled that in. I don't know.
I see. Okay.
I agree with that too. And a lot of times we'll do congratulations on your new home. Thank you for choosing us to do the work that was needed. And I often wonder how much I know Google puts emphasis on what the customer's keywords are in their reviews. So I often wonder what emphasis, if any, they put on our response. So I try to like keyword load my responses to, your clogged drain and your whatever. I just throw as much as I can in there. And then another thing is I am concerned about our potential customers reading through the reviews. If it was some sort of canned response, even if there was multiple options to choose from, it eventually becomes extremely repetitive. I feel like I'm so repetitive myself, and I try so hard not to be, so just by using different words and different phrasing and stuff. So it would be you'd have to build like a huge library of pre-arranged phrases, I would think, for it to not seem overly automated.
Yeah. Cool.
I think we also need to think about what is scalable, right? When we're doing these responses, and as we grow bigger and we're responding very personalized by ourselves, we need to think about how do we delegate that to a specific team member, so that marketing, we are handling marketing and someone else is managing our reputation. Okay. Because otherwise we're going to get in the weeds and we're going to spend all day talking to people. And we don't have time for that as marketers. We have marketing to do. And yes, protecting our brand is important, but that's why we have these brand ambassadors in place and these interns or whatever you want to hire that manages our reputation, and we trust them with our words. So think about that role that might need to be there. Okay, so we're going to wrap up a little bit. We have about 9 minutes left. Is there any other questions that we have for Lucine about reputation, or any comments? No. Are you guys excited about what she told you about the data? Do you feel good? Awesome. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is drop the survey link for us. Please take a moment and take the survey. Here you go. And that'll help us. We are new to this workshop thing. We're just bringing out our product team. So we're learning the content that needs to be here and the discussions that need to be had and the length and the time and all this great stuff. And we're also thinking about hosting summits. So coming out towards different areas and talking about marketing and helping where we can. So let us know if that's something that you'd like us to do. We also come to your office if we need to learn more about what's going on, because that's how we make product from you. And all of these feedback sessions actually go right back to, I mean, our product managers who sit there and they're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this, or maybe we should do this. So we really appreciate everything that you guys tell us and take your feedback seriously. And Christina, I'm coming to your office because you owe me some cheese curds, so don't worry about that. But okay, well, we appreciate all of you for joining, and please take that survey. It's also in the Facebook link as well, and I will send over the recording. Don't worry, I will get that out as soon as I can. All right, thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh.